What's up, buddies? Today, I am breaking down some major developments for the Las Vegas Raiders for you. You know their quarterback situation? The team has locked in veteran quarterback Geno Smith with a new contract, and I've got the key details on how this deal impacts their roster and cap strategy and how this is going to affect their draft strategy. Plus, I'm going to share whose surprise visit is set with the Raiders. So let's get started, but if you are new here, subscribe for in-depth AFC West analysis you won't find anywhere else. So, starting with the QB, the Raiders secured Geno Smith with a 2-year, $85.5 million contract, including $66.5 million guaranteed, tying him to the team through the 2027 season. From a financial perspective, this deal is a masterclass in flexibility. In 2025, Geno Smith earns $40 million in guaranteed money, $24 million in base salary, and a $16 million roster bonus already disbursed. At signing, $58.5 million was fully guaranteed, with cap hits projected at $26.5 million in 2026 and $39.5 million in 2027. The critical detail? No guaranteed money in 2027, giving the Raiders an escape hatch after 2 years. This structure keeps the cap hit modest, $24 million in 2025 and $25 million in 2026, compared to top quarterback salaries pushing $50 million annually. It's a bridge contract, plain and simple, designed to stabilize the position while the front office plans for the long haul. Why does this matter? The Raiders needed a reliable starter after cycling through uneven quarterback play. Geno Smith isn't an elite talent, but he's a seasoned veteran who brings consistency and leadership. On film, his decision-making and ability to manage games stand out, making him a clear upgrade over younger options like Aiden O'Connell. Strategically, this signing buys time, allowing the Raiders to compete now while grooming a successor. Geno Smith's role is to anchor the offense, execute the scheme under a new coaching staff, and mentor a potential rookie. But it also begs the question, how soon will the Raiders target a new quarterback? That brings us to their draft plans, where some fascinating signals are emerging. The Raiders hold the number 6 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, a golden opportunity to land a transformative player. Recent reports highlight their interest in quarterback prospects, with scheduled visits from Shedeur Sanders of Colorado and Jaxson Dart of Ole Miss. Shedeur Sanders is a polarizing talent. Early projections had him as a top 5 pick, but his stock has settled into the top 12 to 15 range. His arm strength and pocket presence pop on tape, though concerns about his ability to read complex defenses persist. Jaxson Dart, on the other hand, brings mobility and playmaking flair, projecting as a late first or second round option. The Raiders' meetings with both players suggest they're exploring every avenue to secure a quarterback for the future. Drafting a quarterback at number 6, however, raises questions about value. Geno Smith's contract commits him to the Raiders for 2025 with an $18 million dead cap hit if cut before 2026. Taking Shedeur Sanders or another passer that early could mean benching a high pick for a year, which clashes with the team's apparent push to win now. Recent roster moves tell a different story. Significant investments in offensive linemen, a top defensive tackle, and a dynamic tight end signal urgency to contend, not rebuild. At number 6, a player like Mason Graham, a disruptive defensive tackle, or Ashton Jeanty, an explosive running back, could reshape the roster immediately, complementing Geno Smith's steady presence. That doesn't mean the Raiders are closing the door on a quarterback. These draft visits could serve multiple purposes. One possibility is genuine interest in Shedeur Sanders or Jaxson Dart, perhaps with an eye toward trading down to select one later in the first round or even in the second, where the cost aligns better with roster need. Another angle is draft strategy gamesmanship. By signaling interest in quarterbacks, the Raiders might lure teams desperate for a passer to trade up to number 6. Imagine a scenario where a team at number 9 or 10 offers to swap picks and throws in a third rounder. The Raiders slide back, still snag a premium prospect like Will Campbell, an elite tackle, and gain extra picks to address depth at corner or wide receiver. This draft's depth, loaded with starters across positions, makes trading back a tempting option. Shifting gears, the Raiders' offseason program offers a window into their readiness to compete. Voluntary workouts recently began, and the early response is telling. Key players like Max Crosby, Jackson Powers-Johnson, and Christian Wilkins were among the first to arrive, hitting the facility as early as 5:40 a.m. These aren't just any names. Max Crosby is a top-tier edge rusher, Jackson Powers-Johnson is a dominant center, and Christian Wilkins ranks among the league's best defensive tackle. Their presence, along with Geno Smith and others like Jeremy Chin, sets a tone of accountability. This isn't mandatory, yet the team's leaders are grinding through film and conditioning, fully bought into the new staff's vision. What's driving this commitment? A shift in mindset. The Raiders are installing fresh offensive and defensive schemes, with the coordinator emphasizing balance and physicality. Players are eager to learn, especially younger talents competing for role. For example, a right tackle like DJ Glaze has every reason to show up early, mastering the system to lock down a starting spot. This buy-in suggests a roster that believes in its potential to make noise in the AFC West. The Raiders have a strong core. Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins anchor the defensive line, while Jackson Johnson bolsters the offense, but gaps remain. The secondary struggled in 2024, and the receiving core needs a spark. The draft will be pivotal for addressing these needs. Back to the draft, the Raiders are casting a wide net, hosting top prospects beyond quarterbacks. Names like Mason Graham, Ashton Jeanty, and Will Campbell have surfaced, alongside others like Kenneth Grant, a versatile defensive tackle. This thorough approach indicates the front office, led by John Spytek, is prioritizing the best available talent at number 6. A defensive lineman like Mason Graham could elevate the pass rush, while Ashton Jeanty's dynamic running style might unlock the offense. Even a corner or tackle could shore up critical areas, offering immediate impact. The Raiders' interest in so many elite prospects keeps their options open, a smart move in a draft this deep. Financially, the Raiders are playing a strong hand. Geno Smith's contract, with its $58.5 million signing bonus, front-loads the guarantees, easing the cap burden in 2025 and 2026. This structure mirrors a trend among shrewd franchises. Use bonuses to manage the cap while preserving flexibility. It's a quiet advantage, allowing the Raiders to pursue free agents or extend young stars like Jaxson Johnson down the line. This approach, possibly influenced by stakeholders like Tom Brady, reflects a departure from past budget constraints, positioning the Raiders to build aggressively. So, what's the ideal move? Sticking at number 6 to draft a game-changer like Mason Graham or Ashton Jeanty maximizes immediate impact, aligning with the Raiders' win-now roster. Trading back could work if the return is substantial, but passing on a top talent feels risky. For a quarterback, waiting for 2026's deeper class makes sense, letting Geno Smith bridge the gap. The Raiders are balancing short-term goals with long-term vision, and the pieces are aligning for a defining offseason. So what do you think, guys? Share your thoughts in the comment section.